I'm the scat man. Yo, do, do, do. Skimmy, dimmy, ding, yo, do, do, do. Yo, do, do, ba, 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 bee, ba, 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 do. Ba, 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 do. Wee, ba, 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 do.
It's Saturday, but we're still rolling. Olympic hockey is still on the slate today. Welcome to Puck Props presented by Bet99. That covers. We're still here. Appreciate everybody there in the chat. Happy to see people exist on a Saturday. I appreciate y'all. Finally got on the board yesterday. Macklin Celebrini goal, plus 220. Thank you very much. Thank you for that boost, Bet99. Enjoyed that. Canada minus 2.5 was an absolute gift. I think Darlene got robbed of 2 shots. No. Interesting. Adam, let me know in the chat there what happened, because I was talking to Ian. Ian will come on in a second and we'll discuss the slate. But the shots on goal, if you've heard me talk so far in the tournament, it's just like a different human being marking the shots on goal. Like everything that gets to the net seems like a shot on goal. And that's why we're seeing some bananas numbers in terms of total shots on goal. And if you're looking at other markets, like I think there was a swing, and Ian and I will talk about it too. There was a spread on shots difference yesterday in the Canada game. And I think it opened at 5.5, and I think it closed at like 9.5. Like shots on goal is something that everybody should be paying attention to. And another thing people need to pay attention to, and we saw it in the Sweden game. Sweden pulled their goalie late. That group absolutely is a disaster right now. And the 1040 game is something that we need to look at. And there are some betting opportunities within that. And that's where my first bets are. And this price has plummeted. I have to send my stuff in the night before so we can tweet out the graphics. Start off with Italy plus 4.5. This was even money when it opened. This was minus 110 when I posted. And this is like down to like minus 140. If you need to juice it up, see if you can get the team total over 0.5, like or the over. And I think Ian's going to mention the over too when he jumps on in a second. 4.5. Italy will have chances to score empty net goals because Finland will be pulling the goalie at any moment. And let's not put away that Italy hasn't played fantastic hockey so far in this tournament. Empty net chances late in games. How about that over 1.5 team total plus 280? The time that I got it yesterday. I can't sit here and name their power play one. I can't sit here and name probably 3 people on this team. But what we have seen from Italy, it cost me a lot of money to learn this lesson, that Italy has played some great hockey in their 2 games. They've been competitive. They've been very competitive. And like I said, it cost me some money to bet against them. And dogs, outside of yesterday, dogs had been doing very well. 4.5 seems like a giant spread when we're getting 2.5 in the Canada world. And then the other play I do have, I'm going back to it after I was absolutely kicked in the balls by the USA first period team total over 1.5 in their opener with 2 goals called back with 3 posts. And that man right there is looking incredible. USA is a wagon, not Canada wagon, but USA is a wagon. And it took him a bit of time to get going, but no one else other than Canada is rolling 4 lines at what they have. So that's what I got on my slate. But the person I'm actually more impressed with to see what his card is, Ian Cameron. Welcome to the show. Happy to have you on. One of the most respected people, and you're like every day. You don't mess around, and good for you. And people need to know what your opinion is on sports betting in hockey, because it's one of the more impressive sides. So I appreciate you joining me here today, pal.
Appreciate it, Josh. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I've been doing the Ice Guys show 7 days a week during the NHL season. Boy, for what, 7-8 years now? It's been, I think one of the longest running, NHL betting shows on the space, over the last decade. And like I said, it's been fun. We've had such growth with the audience, and we really pride ourselves on that show of not taking days off, being there for the viewers and listeners every single day, previewing every single NHL game on the board, sides, totals, player props, getting as in-depth as it gets. And obviously we've carried it on here, Josh, to the men's Olympic hockey tournament. So appreciate you having me on. I will say this about the game that's just about to start. We should get to that because it's about to drop the puck in about 20 minutes. Italy's 2-0 against the spread, or against the puck line, I guess you could say, in this tournament. And, they have found a way to be competitive, hang in games, despite getting outshot, despite getting outchanced, despite getting hemmed in their defensive zone for large portions, extended portions of each game. They've gotten great goaltending from Davide. The goalie yesterday played well against Slovakia. And then, of course, Damian Clara. He played so well and faced so many shots, he got hurt, for crying out loud, against Sweden in that first game. They've just found a way, to hang in games. So I did take I split this up between 3 different pro-Italy bets here, rather than just, I didn't want to go one unit on each one. We wanted to just, be a little creative here with Italy plus 4.5. We split that with, you mentioned the team total over 1.5 for Italy. You get plus money on that, in that plus 240 range. And I also took a shot with Italy for a goal in the first period, also north of plus 200 being the price on that. Now, the concern here is Finland's, in theory, should be incentivized to win by margin and score a bunch of goals because they can still attain a top 4 finish. They can't win the group now. It's going to be down to either Slovakia and Sweden. So how incentivized and how motivated is Finland to say, yeah, we really want that top 4 finish. Let's run it up. And even if they're motivated to do that, can they run it up against a Italian side that, despite all the shots, Josh, they've given up and chances, they've just allowed 3 non-empty net goals to Sweden and 3 goals to Slovakia. They have hung in there. They have held the fort, reasonably speaking. So, I still think Italy, is a little undervalued. And the one thing I said, and I said this on the Ice Guys, Italy plays hard. And these aren't guys that just picked off the street and put a hockey jersey in them in downtown Milan that have never played hockey before for this Italian team. That's not the case. These are guys that have played professional hockey, club leagues, club teams over there. A lot of them play for the Ice Hockey League, which is a league comprised of Austrian clubs, Bulgarian clubs, and Italian clubs. And a lot of them have played pro hockey there. And Bolzano, there's a club team in Italy in that league, and a lot of them have played with that club team. And there's a prop that stands out, Josh, for this Italy-Finland game, for an Italian goal scorer prop.
Hit me. It's probably good plus money.
It's excellent plus money. It was plus 850 at Bet365, but I think it's moved down a little bit. You can still get plus 700 or better with this player. Matt Bradley here for Italy. He has actually scored 2 of their 4 goals in this tournament. He is on the top line centering it for Italy. So he's playing, a bunch. And you can get him in that plus 700 to plus 850 range to score a goal here for Italy. I think it's well worth a wager at that price. It's been noticeable. Like I said, they've scored 4 goals in the tournament. Matt Bradley's got 2 of them. So at that price, I think it's absolutely something worth a flyer.
Love it. That's a good point, because as I said off the top of the show, name me, Bradley's probably the only name that I can name, and it's funny that it's not even an Italian name, but that's a guy. You're getting plus 850. Plus 850 was Devon Taves' price last night. That's where that's relative. He ain't scoring, as Aaron Korolnik told me in a message I sent to him the other day. But plus 850 is a good spot. There will be chances for empty net goals. There will be chance for Italy continuing to hit teams that, and I loved how you said win to margin by Finland. Just because a team needs to win to margin doesn't mean that that's going to happen. It's going to open the doors more.
Must win doesn't equal will win. That's my old adage. Yeah.
that there's just more doors open for Italy to crack that. And 4.5, I know it's down to minus 155 in places, but that's a good spot. The minus 4.5, and if you can put the over 5.5, maybe that's a spot where you can bring that up to even money. And I love how you looked at that and said, here's my angle as a bettor. Here's my angle with Italy. I don't know exactly which market is the best. I know that this is the angle. Let me find 3 different markets to put on. the 4.5, the team total, and the Bradley plus 850. So great looks there.
I mentioned this on the Ice Guys show a lot, Josh, about this team total and especially with the underdog, right? The underdog's the underdog for a reason. We feel they're off
lost a lot of money
against
betting the unders on the underdog, Ian, and there's a point to say like those team totals are low.
Yeah, and a lot of times I will make the case for if I like a dog, I will do the money line and team total split. Because sometimes with that dog, I don't trust them to keep the puck out of the net. I don't necessarily trust them as much defensively. And you don't want to be stuck with Italy plus 4.5. If let's say they lose this game 7-2. Let's just hypothetical. They lose.
No,
this game
exactly, right?
7-2.
You're like, you scored 2 and I still got nothing out of
You
it.
get your team total to the win column at least with Italy team total over 1.5. Whereas if you put your entire stake on Italy plus 4.5, you're going to come up empty. So that's why, from that standpoint, with the dog, usually I'm going to like to take a split here with money line and team total, because a lot of times with these dogs, they're not always trustworthy to shut it down defensively. And I've lost track, Josh, over the years of how many times in the NHL I've been on a dog, I've cashed the team total over, and I've lost the money line. It's happened
they lose
so
to
many
margin.
times.
Yeah,
the dog loses 4-3, but I got my over 2.5. So that's something very important to keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's a good thing to be like, okay, how the edge is like, this is a team that's going to play competitively. So let's put some beans. Let's put some beans on that team total. And that's what at least I am. Italy team total over 1.5 plus 280. We like it there. And I think that's probably been the story so far with most teams playing 2 games. It's still funny that USA's only played 1 game to date. It seems like this tournament's already been a week long. That we've seen it in multiple games, 7-8 shots on goal, and they have 2 in the net. Yeah. Like Dan Vladar just getting rusty in the first period the other day, seeing nothing, and then the second period happens, boom, 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 you're down 3-2. I think it's just a very difficult spot for professional goalkeepers. 10 minutes
he got into this fog there, Dan Vladar. I think he thought he was back in Philadelphia again with that Flyer D in front of him for a little bit.
And I was on the team total under on the other side, and I'm like, no, Dan Vladar's fine. He's good. He's the only reason maybe Philadelphia has chances of winning, and I think he still is, but it's going to be interesting to see.
For 10 minutes, he thought he was back in Philly. Forgot it was Italy.
Yeah. So going back to the NHL side, how are you feeling if like you have shares in like the Kings, the playoffs, the Kings, everything? Like they were a fringe playoff team, sold some stuff to obviously get Panarin, and then Fiala goes down, freak accident. It sucked that it was Tom Wilson, and you're like, okay, but and then let's be honest, the way that they took him off the ice didn't do him any favors, right? Wheelbarrow, it looked like, face down on the girder. You hope he comes back, but how tough of a spot do you think the Kings are in now?
Yeah, it does hurt. I guess it's now nice that he got Artemi Panarin now because he was brought in, obviously, to infuse their offense a little bit. But you're talking about a LA Kings team that, look, I know Panarin will help, but although I do have questions about him at playoff time, but they didn't just get him they got to get there first. And Panarin should probably help them as far as that's concerned. But it's not like this is a team that can afford to lose a key offensive weapon, a key offensive piece that's going to be a 5-on-5 difference maker offensively, that's going to be a power play performer for them. They can't afford that. Their depth of options offensively are a lot more limited compared to some other teams in the NHL. So it's just unfortunate, right? And now you see why Gary Bettman and league owners were just not thrilled about, Olympic participation. The reason why the players are here, let's not kid ourselves. The players want to represent their country and play for a gold at the Olympics. It matters to them. But you think Gary Bettman's loving this, stopping his season for 2 weeks, not getting much as far as financial, incentives are concerned for this tournament, and then seeing some of his players get injured and lost for the rest of his NHL season when players
also jamming a schedule that's like 4 games,
shoehorning
5 nights
schedule
down everybody's throat.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So it's just unfortunate. You didn't want it to happen, Josh. You didn't want it to happen where a player would be out for the season due to an injury incurred and suffered here during this tournament. But I guess it felt like maybe it was going to happen at some point. And obviously, all the games that have been played in a condensed period of time have not helped alleviate the injury situation. But it's just unfortunate. You feel bad for Kevin Fiala, and you certainly feel bad for the LA Kings. It's a big loss.
Huge loss. So interesting to see how the lines get back, because Panarin's obviously hasn't played a game with them. He will when they get back. I believe the schedule kicks off on the Wednesday, with Sunday being the gold medal game in the morning, and then everybody back on the Wednesday. Let's keep rolling to the next game. Denmark, USA minus. All right. I don't. You might not know the prices here. Hey, there he is. What's up?
There he is, my good buddy Andrew McGinnis. I should point out
why are there so many good
game,
I
added the over
guys
6.5 in that
in Halifax too,
game.
right? I think he's an East Coast guy, right?
He is. He's from Nova Scotia. You're absolutely right about that.
He's an absolute beauty, and I think he's a giant, tall human being too, isn't he?
I think yes, he is. I've seen him in person. Yeah. He is pretty tall.
Well, good to see you in the morning. Who do you think's longer in price, Italy or Denmark?
I would assume Italy.
Yeah, Denmark's plus 1,800 versus Italy at plus 1,600.
Wow, there you go.
I know. It's a different spot. It's how I still don't think they're pricing the bottom teams well. USA might be out of that group, but USA minus 4.5 over under sitting at 6.5. I'm going back to the USA team total first period over 1.5. That was maybe the worst beat I've had all playoffs. Two
disallowed goals. Oh my gosh! Yeah,
and the posts like
total. Oh my goodness!
3 posts at the end. That team, I said, they haven't played the third game. This is their second game. I think they're heating up. Can we agree if we're going power rankings here, Ian? Canada 1, USA 2, right?
I would say so because look, Sweden's been up and down. Finland, they played good against Sweden, but lackluster in losing to Slovakia. So
who's the 3? So this is the group: Finland, Sweden, Germany, Slovakia, Swiss, and the Czechs. Where do you go 3, 4, 5 in that group? Because it's tough.
Yeah, no question. That's absolutely the big question here. It's a fascinating group. This is an interesting game because the coach for Denmark has already said Freddie Anderson's not starting in this game, and I found that out overnight. So obviously, we're going to be looking at Fredrik Dichow here for Denmark, or Mads Søgaard, who of course many of us know from the Ottawa Senators.
I think statistically he's like the worst goals saved above expected goalie in hockey.
Yeah, it hasn't been good for Søgaard. It really has not been good at any point at the NHL level with the Ottawa Senators for Mads Søgaard. And if you look at his AHL numbers with Belleville, they're not that great down there either, since he's been down there for them as well. So while I was just, and I still like over 6.5 in this game, first period over. Now the first period over, going to wait for the price to come down a little bit and bet it. And that's what I do a lot. If I don't love the price with the first period over, and we preach this all the time on the show, scoreless game, 3-4 minutes into the first, you're going to get a better price.
25 points at that 3-minute mark.
Exactly. 100%. So that's what I'm going to look to do. I have the pregame over 6.5 in pocket. We'll see with Denmark here in the U.S. U.S. could light them up, and especially if it's Søgaard, because I think there's, I've been looking to fade Frederik Andersen all season. A rough season in Carolina. I thought Germany could have scored more than 3 goals against him, but once they got up 3-1, it looked like they played Katie bar the door hockey and just kind of shut things down. They didn't really go after that next goal. They kind of played defense first from that point on.
Grubauer finished like 37 saves in that game, right? Like that I think that game might be one of the more outlying box scores in the tournament. And we saw Germany lose today to Latvia, and I don't think Germany's very strong.
Yeah, I know. That was obviously not a tough loss. And I said Latvia is going to be feisty there in that game, and they were more than feisty. They end up beating Germany there 4-3. A great win for Latvia. Bounce back there for them. But I think Denmark could chip in. Like the Denmark team total's reasonable in this game. Now, it's Jeremy Swayman who's going to get the start for the U.S. in this game. He's had an up-and-down season. If you get the outstanding version of Jeremy Swayman, look out. But if you get the the inconsistent version that we've often seen this year, it could be an issue. And to see Denmark's team total out there, 1.5 at plus 165, I think it's worth a shot. This is one of those rare instances, Josh, where I actually took both team totals over, both of them. Denmark over 1.5 plus 165. I like.
Wouldn't it be nice to get both team to score 2 market somewhere?
Yes. The U.S. team total over 5.5 plus 105. I like that. And like I said, first period over, minus 180 is pretty pricey right now. We'll wait for that to come down a bit. And I'm on Denmark USA pregame over 6.5. And then for props, I did want to mention in the Italy-Finland game too, I did jump on late the 6.5 over in that game simply because Finland's got to push for offense.
Yeah.
So that could lead to maybe more of a wide open game there. And I do like the Finnish prop I like the most is Anton Lundell plus 270. to score a goal. I think he's been their best forward. He's certainly right up there so far in this tournament. And one of the most
no one
underrated players in
offensively
the
is
world.
standing out for Finland, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
That's
Like
true.
none of the big boys are. And I think someone in the chat was looking for Esselindell shot prop. I mentioned it yesterday because he's playing with Heiskanen, so he's playing 30 minutes. Like I think Heiskanen played almost 30 minutes the other day. And it seems like what we saw in that game with positive game script where they were leading, it was still Esselindell who got to take the offensive chances, then left Heiskanen back to play more defense because he didn't get as much engaged. And Insight saying Granlund Day.
Yeah, that's another one I took. Granlund and Lundell. Granlund and Lundell are my two primary goal props that I bet for Finland against Italy.
Who's the bargain bin today, bud? Who's in the bargain bin?
Yeah.
Who do you get? Does Bradley bargain bin?
Bradley, yes. Bradley is, we do a bargain bin special segment on the Ice Guys. It's our favorite plus 300 or greater price player prop that we like on the board. And I went with Matt Bradley for Italy.
Do you have something more than a bargain when it gets to like plus 800 though? Or
we should do like a super bargain.
Yeah, it's like
a super bargain bin special. But no, as long as it's plus 300 or better. I mean, my colleague on that show, Alex P. Smith, hell, I've seen him cash plus 1,200 bargain bin special winners in the past. But I thought that was great value. You're talking about you don't get a chance at plus 850 to bet someone that scored half his team's goals in the tournament. And that's what we got with Matthew Bradley for Italy.
Putting like a 3-leg SGP for like a Monday night football game and getting 850 is not easy either, right? Like 850 is a giant price. And when it gets that big, people are kind of not in the norm of knowing the difference between the difference between plus 450 and plus 850 is in terms of probability. But 850.
Denmark can score in this game, Josh. And I kind of think they can. Because
what's an Ehlers price?
Look at those NHL, those Denmark players that play in the NHL. They all have great value because they're going up against mighty USA. So you get more value with their goal props. You can take Nikolai Ehlers at plus 450 at BetMGM to score. You could take Oliver Bjorkstrand at plus 600 at BetMGM to score. Lars Eller, who's already scored in this tournament for Denmark, plus 700. You can get some
those are good prices,
amazing prices with those three for Denmark.
And I think when we finish this tournament and we get older and we look at other tournaments, right? Maybe another Four Nations tournament or something, and we look back on it, I think we need to realize that the pricing out of the gates is always going to favor the overs and favor the favorites. So I think if I got a chance to redo this tournament from the first days, it would be to get on the Italys, to get on the Frances, to get on those dogs and play it. Because
especially the early games, right? Because again, even the best teams, you look on paper, Italy versus Sweden, total mismatch. Well, sometimes it takes those superior teams a game to get the chemistry and the cohesion right, get the rhythm going. And we've certainly seen that early in the tournament, how the dogs, the big dogs, the so-called undermanned teams have fared pretty well. For U.S. props in that late game, Denmark, USA, I think there's value goal because I'm a goal prop guy, as you could clearly tell. Everything I've been talking about has been goal props. Hughes and Werenski, the two great defensemen for the U.S., they're always a threat, right? Threat to make offense happen.
Is it not nuts that Werenski's like PP2?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it defers to Quinn Hughes, but that speaks obviously volumes about how just terrific Quinn Hughes is. You can get both of those guys at bargain bin level prices. Quinn Hughes is plus 390 to score. Zach Werenski is plus 380.
And we've seen it. We're talking about Heiskanen playing 30 minutes. Those D-men, because teams are maybe not so much the Denmark's, but a lot of teams are going 60 minutes, 14 minutes, whatever, 10 minutes across the board. It's a lot more balanced than regular NHL lines. And then all of a sudden, those top line D guys are the guys playing 24 plus.
Yeah, no question about it. 2 goals for Brock Nelson in the opener against Latvia. I know its price is a little plus 170, a little not as quite as attractive, but still, I mean, Brock Nelson's been great. And this is a guy that now for 2 weeks, this is going back weeks now with Colorado in the NHL, has been one of the most red hot goal scorers in the world right now. Brock Nelson. That's how good he has been. And I took a small shot pre-tournament with Brock Nelson to lead the U.S. in goals. And it was plus 5,000, 50 to 1. And I think at least got a puncher's chance with Brock Nelson with the 2 goals that he got in the first game.
I know Colorado was struggling there for a bit, and I use the word struggling loosely. if it wasn't for Brock Nelson leading that offense, because McKinnon went like donuts in like 4 or 5 stretches. He was the only guy running that offense, and he was having his line mates juggled. I know Ross Colton came back. There was Nichushkin was second line, then he was top line, then Arturi Lehkonen came down. But he's been the absolute staple, and I didn't think that he was going to be that guy when they made that move. You're like, oh, okay, it's maybe a top 6 upgrade, sure, but he looks like he's 1,000 years old, but he's certainly helping Colorado.
That's a product too, Josh. It's just, hey, you put him with a good team, good organization, chance to win a Stanley Cup, and it's amazing how it can revitalize, a particular player. And because I think there was times where it looked like Brock Nelson had run its course with the New York Islanders, and he did have some struggles there, but boy, he has fit in seamlessly here with the Colorado Avalanche. And you mentioned how he carried things when McKinnon was struggling a bit. I think McKinnon's probably saying to myself, I carry your ass enough on this hockey.
Give me 3 games.
Your ass is enough. It's nice that someone else pulls the weight and pulls the freight for a change.
I'm getting hate online from Habs fans because I'm calling out Nick Suzuki for not looking great. It's not that Nick Suzuki isn't a great hockey player. When you play with Nathan McKinnon and you're playing as a usual natural centerman playing on the wing, there are adjustments to be made. And that line got blown up last game. He hasn't looked great. They took him off. Cooper took him off PK2 after the goal. I don't think the goal was his fault, but it looks like he's fighting it. And it's not that he's not a bad player. And it goes to show you the adjustments you have to make are very difficult, especially when you're playing with guys like 29. And it's like, you can get the puck off my stick quick mentality and like get it to him. But maybe Suzuki is better fitted for the 4th line role.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, he got caved his line, and with him on the ice in particular, they got caved in a handful of times against Switzerland on Friday. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly obviously look, he's had a great season. He's a great 2-way player for the Montreal Canadiens at the NHL level. But like I said, there's going to be certain instances where it's not always going to be it's been a great NHL season. It's going to automatically be a great show of play and performance level at the Olympics. And yeah, he kind of had some issues last game. It's just the nature of the beast where, if you have some struggles, you got other options. And that's the luxury that John Cooper has. Like, it's pretty insane that Josh Morrissey's out due to injury against Switzerland. Brad Marchand needs a rest day against Switzerland. They decided to give him a rest day. And you just throw Seth Jarvis and Travis Sanheim in as replacements. Yeah. More than capable replacements. That's what it is for Canada, an embarrassment of riches.
And we saw obviously Marchand wearing a suit yesterday, and everyone's like, oh my God. You're like, no, like this was a guy who has been banged up, has had some pretty physical games down the stretch, right? And
they just don't want him in there on a back-to-back. It's
for sure. It's load management, and it's not like he was sitting in the box being upset about taking a day off. It's fine. He'll be back, and he'll have a big role. My favorite player so far, obviously outside of 17 and Macklin Celebrini looking great on 97 line, Sam Bennett might be the best 9 to 12 minute shifts, like 13 shift guy on that team by far. I could watch Sam Bennett. I could watch 9 skate all day. Would never want to play against him, but he's that guy, and he's been super impressive. Great to see Logan Thompson obviously get some work. That the Kira Schmid thing was funny. I didn't put that together until I think Elliot brought it up at the top of the show.
Yeah, that he ended up being the second goalie replacement in Vegas for Logan Thompson, Akira Schmid. So maybe it's just a little bit of a chip on the shoulder saying, hey, you're going to take my spot in Vegas. I'll show you who's the better goalie right now. Awesome.
2 games there. We got Czech Republic, Switzerland in the 6-10 slot, and just a single 6-10 game. One of the few times where we only have 3 games from now till tomorrow's show. I don't know what to expect from the Czech Republic. I really don't. They're minus 135 favorites. I think that game, maybe if Kevin Fiala's in, maybe it's a little closer to a pick 'em, but you lose a top line guy and your PP1 guy. That's a big loss to them as well.
It sure is. There's no question. And for the Czechia, it's been a interesting tournament, I guess you could say, so far for them. I mean, that France in the second period. I don't know what happened. The 3 goals consecutively to fall behind 3-2.
They should have challenged. They should have challenged that power play goal where Vladar got a stick between the legs, and then the floodgates open.
Given what was disallowed in the U.S.-Latvia game, they probably would have won that challenge.
Or the Suzuki trip in the first goal with Canada on the Biddington outlet pass.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, the way they've been calling goalie interference here in this tournament, my goodness, they probably had a good chance to win that challenge. This one, I have a feeling like, look, Switzerland is coming off the tough loss that they suffered against Canada, 5-1. Czechia, obviously, a narrow victory against France, 6-3. They ended up pulling away in the third, but boy, they had to work for that.
That's not a 6-3 win in the eyes of someone who watched that game.
No, that was not pretty for Czechia right now. So
and Giannoni's the man. Giannoni's better. Like Giannoni's the guy you want. I think that's his name.
He should have started against Canada, Josh. I don't get that.
I think they punted it, right? I think when I saw Schmid come in, you're like, it's funny. You have like a 38-year-old non-North American goalie, and you're like, that's your guy. And when I saw Schmid announce, I'm like, oh, they're kind of punting their goalie rotation for this game.
Yeah, and I've said this on the Ice Guys in all tournament long so far. People, the Joe Public better and hockey fan is not going to know Leonardo Giannoni from a hole in the wall, okay? But we know him, and I've seen him play for years. Swiss leagues, Spengler Cups, World Hockey Championship, where last year he was the goalie, best goalie of the tournament. He won that award at the 2025 World Hockey Championship for Switzerland. This is a guy that plays very good. He's been a great decorated international goaltender, Leonardo Giannoni, here for Switzerland. And I think if he gets the start here, we saw him put up a goose egg against France. This will be tougher here because Czechia's got a few more offensive options. But, I think Switzerland's live in this game. I'm just waiting on Giannoni being the starter. If Giannoni's the starter, I like Switzerland. If Schmid's the starter, I probably lean over in some capacity here.
Blindly, do you think there's a goalie who maybe has more starts for his country than Giannoni? Like if you put him at the betting favorite, if off the top of your head, no?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, he has represented Switzerland and like you said, he's played his entire professional hockey career over there in Europe. And I remember watching Spengler Cup tournaments with Canada involved, and I think he played for Davos at the time. And Davos, of course, in Switzerland is always the place that hosts the Spengler Cup every year. And I'm seeing this Giannoni guy, and he's like robbing Canada, 38, 40 saves. I'm like, this guy's pretty damn good as far as a goaltender, but he has been has a really, really strong professional career overseas, and I don't think everybody's aware of that. They just see Leonardo Giannoni. He's not in the NHL. How good can he be? He's pretty good. Insight
in the chat saying Damian Clara is starting for Italy, all 6'5" of him. He's a tough guy. And I think, and you probably assume the same thing. It was the same thing with Kim Schmid. So I'm like, all right, Schmid's in. I think Canada has a better chance. When professional players see goalies who they've seen before, I think there's a better chance for them putting a puck behind them as opposed to being like, all right, who's this guy from France? Yeah. Oh, he's going to make 47 saves. I don't know. I think that's the embodiment of so far of what we've seen in the Olympics.
We'll find out quickly how healthy Damian Clara is, because I'm sure he's going to see some rubber because Italy gives up the shot volume as we. So know.
He came out in that second game.
Yeah, it was.
I saw there was a switch. I didn't know if he started that game or he came in for the other goalie. He started that game.
I think it was wasn't it the other goalie for Italy?
So it was okay. So he didn't start that game. He came in for the other goalie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting spot. So we got 5 minutes before that game starts. There's obviously some really good markets in terms of shots on goal. I think maybe the best bet that ever existed was like first period saves in some games where it's like over 10.5 and like.
I know a lot of people have been loving regarding this game here, the last game we just talked about, Pasternak. Shots on goal props, yet he doesn't seem to be.
He's a passer all of a sudden.
Yeah,
he's a facilitator.
Yeah, I've noticed.
I looked at Natchez. He played like 15 minutes last game. You're like, why? Just load up your top line. Like we're past the point of being cute, Ian. Right? Because everybody makes an elimination game. Everybody gets an elimination game. You get one, I get one, we all get one. And I think we'll start to
By
see
the way,
some
that's
teams.
the dumbest format in the world. How the hell do we play all these preliminary round
It
games?
means
You won't
nothing.
eliminate anybody?
Nothing.
That's the point. These are exhibition games for crying out loud.
Five
Okay,
versus
you want to win your group, get an easier opponent,
5
easier
versus
draw in the
12.
quarters, but yeah, stupid.
Right? And then you get 5 versus 12, and you'll get 6 versus 11, and those are massive games versus likely Italy and France. And those could be the games that sell the tickets for a lot of people having most goals in tournaments. And like all of a sudden you get two games versus France. That's a big advantage.
Yeah, it does. Like I said, I think if you're going to do a tournament like this, you got to make the preliminary round games mean more than this. I know you can still win your group, and if you win your group, you get a bye to the quarters. That's a little something incentive to incentivize performance in the preliminary round, but you cannot put this many teams in the tournament, have a preliminary round, and not eliminate anybody from the playoff round and the medal round. That's absurd.
I agree. It's like my kids' volleyball team where everybody made it. And now they have 19 guys on their volleyball team, and all the parents can't fit in the gymnasium. Nick Porto in the chat saying coaches want to be the smartest guy in the room, and I think that's a disease so far in the Olympics on teams, not where guys like John Cooper obviously doesn't owe anything to anybody, but those other teams where it's like, no, let me try to be the smartest guy in the room, and it's not going to work out. Oh, geez, someone's saying dust your dresser and books. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him in the chat. Oh, now he's laughing at you, Patan. Hopefully he's nice. Hopefully he's a nice guy. The boys are there, but hey, what you do for?
I don't put any. I don't have the reason to buy pictures and portraits and all that. You know, it's just you look at blank wall space. What can I say? I never look at that area unless
7 days a week, bro. 7 days a week is nuts.
Yeah.
Like
no, 7 days a week on the ice, guys. You said it, Josh. We don't take days off. Every game on the board all season. Yep.
Good for you guys. No, but you are one of the most trusted and well-respected people in the hockey betting space. So I do appreciate you jumping on. I'll get Jonathan Davis on tomorrow, another guy in the exact same vein as you. And I know he probably listens to you.
Very good. Good guest, Toby.
Yeah, he is the NHL trend stat guy where it's just like, hey, did you know this guy scores this many goals versus this goalie? Or he's
our official ice guy stats guy. Say, I need something looked up. Jonathan's right there. Jesus,
he's incredible. So no, you as well. I appreciate it. Great insight. And I really appreciate the way you looked into this Italy game and took your unit and split across 3 things so you don't get donut, just even if the look gets good. And Finland can actually win to margin. Over 1.5 plus 2 something is silly when you look at what over 1.5 is in Denmark. I like Italy over 1.5 better probability wise than Denmark, and I'm getting a better price.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, again, with this Italy team total over 1.5 at that, plus 225, plus 245 in that range, they only need 2 goals. And guess what? They've scored 2 goals in each of their first 2 games. They've been able to get to 2. So
they might get those empty net looks. Empty net looks. You could see weird empty net with like 5 minutes left to go.
Yeah.
And these are the opportunities. These are the advantages that we have. But Ian, I appreciate your time on a Saturday. Great to see everybody there in the chat enjoying Ian's commentary because it is some of the best in the business. Appreciate you, pal. Enjoy your Saturday.
You too, Josh. Thanks for inviting me on the show. Good luck to you. Good luck to everyone watching and listening.
I appreciate it. NHL Puck Props presented by Bet99. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Thanks to everybody there in chat. Thank you, producer Chris. We'll see you then. Scatman.